Good morning, Big Ten fans. Welcome back to another edition of the Big Ten Morning Minutes. I'm your host, Michael Chen. It is February 6, 2019, Christmas in February for college football coaches, recruits, recruit nicks, as today is the first Wednesday of February, always a signing day for college football stars. But unfortunately, the luster has been taken out a little bit due to the fact of an early signing period. However, there's still plenty of action going on, and we'll get started right away with some transfer news as Alabama outside linebacker Yabi Anoma has entered the transfer portal. There's rumors flying that he could be heading home to join Mike Locksley in Maryland, who obviously just left Alabama as an offensive coach over there, but nevertheless, Anoma had a very solid relationship with Locksley. Anoma is from Maryland as well. He was a top 5 player ranked nationally, and he was an all-SEC freshman team member, so that would be a huge pickup for Mike Locksley if that was to come to fruition. There is some bad news, however, within the conference for a school, and that was Michigan yesterday, as they announced that their returning starter back, although he wasn't the starter last year, he's played significantly. Chris Evans is not with the team anymore currently. It does look like it's been being reported by multiple outlets that it is an academic issue for Evans. So when there's an academic issue, I think that leaves the possibility of him actually getting things straight in the classroom and then returning to the team. So we'll keep an eye out what ultimately ends up happening with Evans. But the bad part about it for the Wolverines and Jim Harbaugh is the fact that the running back depth chart now looks very, very thin. You've got Karan Higdon, who decided to go to the NFL. On top of that, Omari Samuels has been dismissed also, and that happened in December. So you're looking at a very, very thin room. You're looking at already early enrollee Zach Charbonnet going to make a big impact, most likely, for the Wolverines on the field this fall. So it's interesting that happened, and that happened now. But I guess sometimes you have to cut the dead weight, and Coach Harbaugh decided that it now was time, and the news came out yesterday. But there was some good news for the Wolverines. They have elevated Ben McDaniels to their quarterback coach after he was multiple times said that he did a fantastic job with a wide receiver. So Jim Harbaugh obviously thought McDaniels was worthy of it, so he elevated him to quarterback coach, which means that Pep Hamilton has been removed. Well, I wouldn't say removed. He will not be with the team anymore, and he's going to look to pursue other opportunities. Penn State kept the commitment ball rolling after a huge weekend. They picked up defensive back Daquan Hardy, who was offered earlier in the day. Penn State played the long game with Hardy, and Hardy waited and waited and waited. Penn State was the offer that he was looking for, and he finally got it yesterday morning. Pulled the trigger almost immediately. Very impressive what he did at the high school ranks. If you take a look at his offensive and defensive numbers, very impressive. But at a defensive back, the sizes, especially with wide receivers becoming the epitome of a wide receiver now, is 6'2", 6'3", and runs a 4.4. He's a little slight on that end. He is 5'9", 155 pounds. So I'm not sure if Hardy will be Big Ten ready, especially size-wise, come next fall. But it's still a good get for James Franklin and his crew. Minnesota picked up a JUCO All-American, Javarius Owens. Originally, he signed with Kansas State, then went the junior college route, was an All-American there, and now he's going to Minnesota. So PJ Fleck picks up a very solid one here. You most likely will look to see Owens get playing time almost immediately for the Gophers. Chris Ash added to his staff as well yesterday, as he's going with former Louisville running back coach Kobe Smith. He's going to take over the same position for the Scarlet Knights. And Maryland, Mike Locksley The good news is that Anoma is thinking about potentially going home. The even better news is that they got a commitment in defensive end Anthony Booker, who committed last night. Their class now sits 66 nationally. They got 15 verbals, so they're moving up. Obviously, Mike Locksley behind the 8 ball due to the fact that he had commitments with Alabama, and they made it all the way to the championship before ultimately losing to Clemson. But you have to deal with that now in this kind of coaching atmosphere, because a lot of times those coaches want that championship so they can have that clout when they go to their new schools. Unfortunately, that didn't happen for Locksley, but Locksley still has done some solid work here so far in the recruiting season, and look for Maryland to get some more. They've got only 15 verbals, so you expect them to potentially look to add 2 to 3 more guys potentially this afternoon. And then this morning, found out that Doug Nestor, the offensive tackle who was a longtime commitment to the Ohio State Buckeyes, he's going to flip to Virginia Tech and stay a little bit closer to home. It's unfortunate for the Buckeyes as they were looking to secure a solid offensive line class, although they have some good commits in there. Nestor was a piece of it, and unfortunately they lose some of that. Onto the hardwood, Cassius Winston continues to be named on more and more lists about the top players in America. This time for the Michigan State guard, it's the Wooden Award, named to the late season top 20. Hardwood for this young man is definitely a possibility, although they did struggle last night. Illinois did upset them. Winston is still one of the best players in the country, and I saw yesterday as well on Twitter that Ohio State commit E.J. Liddell, he was seen in a walking boot for his game last night, for his high school game. He's not on campus yet for the Buckeyes, but him being in a walking boot, not the best news for the Buckeyes. And that's going to do it this morning for your Big Ten Morning Minutes. I will most likely get you a solid recap of what's going on inside the conference. I am going to renege on something that I said yesterday. I did say that I wasn't going to bring you a lot of news about players going on visits. What I really meant was that I'm not going to give you a lot of news on players going on visits when there's more important things going on. Recruiting is going to slow down here for a little bit. Obviously, with National Signing Day today, there was a ton of information within the last 6 weeks between the early period and this period. So, therefore, a lot of visits were happening, so I wasn't really overtly concerned. Now that things are going to slow down a little bit, it's more pertinent for me to actually give you a little bit more of that information to get an idea of where some players are leaning so they can start kind of making up the boards for those teams. So I'll give you that information, and over the course of the next couple of weeks, I will as well on slow days, I'll make sure that I get a chance to watch some video of some of these prospects and give you a little bit of breakdown, although I'm not an expert, but give you a little bit of breakdown of what I see and what to expect, whether they're a potential redshirt, immediate impact, or kind of a special teams guy that doesn't redshirt that should see an impact down the road as well. But I digress. I appreciate you listening. Give me a follow on Twitter at MFC2123, and have a great day, Big Ten fans.